This is the gospel according to the IRS, Breaking Points and Church Financial Updates. And now, here's the authority, Dr. Michael Chitwood and Breaking Points.
Michael Chitwood, welcome to Breaking Points today. We've got a great program for you today. We're going to continue on with the excess compensation benefit thing here, and we want to wind this thing up today. We want to thank you also for joining the program today, and thank you for all of you that send your notes. And remember, the way that I read notes is real short, right to the point. Just tell me right to the point. Thank you for that. By the way, we had somebody that called the other day. I don't remember what day they said they called, but I just got the note a couple of days ago. I have just a couple of those UBID tapes, unrelated business income tapes left if you want that free of charge. Just a couple of them. I don't have many of them. Call us at 1-800-345-9117. Now, let's continue with this. The last part on the rules on excess compensation benefits, and I want you to write this down if you would, please. It says that this new law, I want you to take this down word for word. Don't make a mistake here. This new law raises the compliance level. Raises the compliance level. Raises. That's a key word there. That's what the Congress is saying. The new law raises the compliance level of churches and ministries to the highest standard. Let me say it again. The new law raises the compliance level of churches and ministries to the highest standard that this nation has ever seen. That's the first part. Number two, and it forces closer scrutiny of all transactions involving money and church assets. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how much more plain can it be? How much more plainer can it be spoken? And that's simply this. You better become wise if you're a board member. You better know what you can do, and you better know what you cannot do, because you're going to wind up getting yourself in serious trouble. And you can't rely upon that church bookkeeper, because you know as well as I do, she's not really a bookkeeper. She's a good person, but she's a check writer. I've been into more churches and found out more problems because somebody thinks that they know nonprofit law, nonprofit accounting, and they don't. That's why that you really need to call me. You know why? Because this is what we specialize in. Don't get with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. Get with somebody that keeps up with the law, that knows what they're doing. We've got a massive firm here of 300-something people that work with us in our entire networking program across this nation. We know what we're doing. We have the connections. We have the networking. The new law raises the compliance of churches and ministries to a higher standard than ever in this nation before, and closely scrutinizes all transactions involving church money and assets. Now, grab your pen if you can. I don't know if we're going to finish this today or not. We'll try. Church Fiduciary Committee. I want to give you these 6 points. We call it the CFC, Church Fiduciary Committee. Number 1, you cannot have any appearance of private annulment. No appearance of private annulment at all. None. None at all. You cannot have any appearance of private annulment at all. That's number 1. Number 2, you must make sure that you have experience in compliance and compensation matters. You must make sure that you have experience in compliance and compensation matters. That's very important. Number 3, you have to have an independent board to approve all major financial transactions. Let me give that to you again. That's number 3. An independent board must approve all major financial transactions. Number 4, the board must be unrelated parties. We have a compensation committee here at our firm that oversees thousands of ministries across America. So the board must be unrelated parties. Number 5 is we must have at least 5 members on the board, and I'm talking about the Compensation Board Committee. The Compensation Committee under the CFC, Church Fiduciary Committee. And the last one, we must have a presumption of reasonableness. It must be reasonable what we're going to do. Now, This doesn't mean that we can't take care of the man of God or the woman of God that's the pastor of the church. You should take care of him. Based on 1 Timothy 5:17 and 18, it's clear. It says pastors who do their work well should be paid very well, especially those who work hard at both teaching and preaching. And the very next verse says this, don't muzzle the ox that treads out the corn. If you want your pastor and your church to do well, you need to pay your pastor well. You need to pay your pastor's wife well. You need to make sure that they receive compensation where that they are comfortable and they too can live the abundant life that God has for them. See, most people realize this, that they want the pastor to preach prosperity, but they never want him to touch prosperity. How can your pastor lead you somewhere he has never been? So he too, she too can have prosperity. We just need to make sure that we cross every T and dot every I. Now, here are the benefits for this. The benefits, I want to finish this up today. The benefits for the compensation committee. There are benefits for that. Number one, it promotes compliance. Number two, it placates all critics and snoops. It placates all of the critics and inquiring snoops. You know, there's always somebody trying to snoop around to find out something on you or the church right there. Everybody's trying to find out something on everybody these days. So do it right to start with. Number three, it satisfies the IRS, your compensation committee. And I hope that many of you get our compensation book that we have, because that's the one that's judged by the nation, by the standard of the nation. Number four, it provides privacy. I believe that the pastor's package should be private. If you want to know what the pastor makes, bring me your tax return and let me see what you make. You're no more entitled to see the pastor's tax return than I'm entitled to see your tax return. See, you have a double standard. What you want is you want to know what he makes, but you don't want us to know what you make. I wonder why that is. Some of you are more concerned with your credit rating than you are your tithing rating. Maybe if I saw your tax return, I would know that you're not paying a full 10% of your tithes. Maybe, just maybe. So there's benefits both ways. Excess compensation, church financial committee. This is Michael Chitwood. Until tomorrow, I will see you on Breaking Points. Get your house of worship in order, because remember, God cannot bless a mess.
Breaking Points gives you the latest IRS updates and tax law. Pastor, if the IRS came to your church today, what would you say? If you really want your house of worship in order, call 1-800-345-9117.